You are listening to the Old School Movement podcast with Daz, Chris and Steve. You understand?
Easy, this is the Old School podcast. My name's Mr. Lucas Dow, Daz the Dazzler.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Stacks.
And welcome. Nice to be back on another episode of the Old School Movements podcast. Yeah, guys. So, what is going on, you guys?
What's going on, you guys?
So today's podcast is about comebacks. It's comebacks of things that were evolved around our childhood, whether people were around before us, but then we noticed them in the 80s and it was their moment to shine, or people that never quite made it in the 80s and then shone later on through the years. People remember. So we're going to go through a few today and see if you remember any of these people. So yeah, today's podcast is 80s comebacks. Explosion time. So yeah, Chris.
Where are we starting? We're starting. When you say people, some of these are objects.
Objects.
Yeah. Fruit
objects.
Or food or.
Yeah, exactly. Objects.
What we start?
As well.
What we starting with? What we starting with?
We're going to start with an object. A tasty object, a snack.
Tasty object.
It's like
chewy, fruity, or chocolatey, nutty. So we're going to hit both of them. Now, you guys remember, like, living in the UK, we had, Mars bars and drifters and Twix, but everybody loved a marathon. A marathon,
and they were bigger then. You know what I mean?
One of my favourites, yeah.
Yeah, still they were good. They satisfy that little hunger burst, didn't they, man?
Yeah, man. Marathon.
Is that why they're called marathon? Because they were like, they took a while to get through, didn't they? Like, because they were back in the day. They, like you say, they were bigger. They had a lot more nuts in them, a lot longer.
Yeah.
Was it like a marathon trying to eat it, like trying to get through it?
It's probably. Oh, yeah.
I can't understand why.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I can think of.
It's in a bar's too big. It's going to be like a marathon eating it. It could be that,
It could be it.
or eat it before you go on a marathon.
Before you have a marathon.
So it sustains those 4 hours. The nuts, the protein in the nuts. But they did change it, and that was disappointing for us because one day you went to buy a marathon and they didn't know what you're talking about. And
what's that? A marathon?
What's a marathon? You
mean
a Snickers?
A Snickers?
Snickers?
Oh, what?
Oh, what?
Snickers? I kind of about my Knickers, were you?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I always think, is that the reason that it maybe they didn't want to use that name? Because it's always been Snickers in the US, isn't it?
That's
it was only marathon in the UK. So is it because it was too close to the word Knickers?
Probably,
which was a risky name back in the day.
It's true that with all that carry-on stuff going on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true, I never thought of it like that. And
it was launched in the UK around the 60s. 1960 was when it was launched. And I was thinking that it's like them carry-on days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Knickers.
It's true.
It's too risky for the English.
Yeah.
It takes a while to eat it. Let's call it a marathon.
Call it a marathon. Do you know what I mean? There you go. It's true, marathon. Yeah, man, because with over 2 billion sales a year worldwide.
2 billion.
Snickers, whatever marathon we call it, it's like all over the place. All over the place.
Do you know what makes a Snickers a Snickers? Or like what the secret ingredient is in the Snickers?
Tell me more.
I think I do.
I don't know. No.
It's a Snickers.
Yeah. Basically, they make a Snickers and then they mash it up and they put that in the is it nougat?
Yeah, that's the bit that you think is nougat. I think that is just smashed up Snickers.
Yeah. No, it's smashed up Snickers in a nougat.
With nougat. Okay. You've watched that program, haven't you? On telly? That was a good program, man. I watched that same
okay.
But yeah, the secret ingredient in a Snickers is a Snickers.
Yeah.
But when I watched that, I thought, how does that work? That's a chicken and egg scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
When they invented the first
made
Snickers, how did they put a Snickers in that Snickers?
They didn't. They would have had to make it with nougat and no Snickers.
Yeah.
And then make another one and mash one. And then,
Yeah. It took a long time to make, hence marathon.
Took a long time to make. Yeah, that could be it. I do remember us talking about
about it before. I remember it coming back to me, and it was the Mars family's horse called
Yeah,
Snickers.
Yeah.
And it was their
Oh,
favourite
right.
horse, and that's how they named the bar. That was back in the 30s, and then I think by the 60s or maybe 50s, it came out in the UK as Marathon.
Yeah, it's true.
Interesting.
It's true. And then they stopped calling it Marathon in 1990.
Yeah,
But they came back for us
they came back. It was around
in
the
2019.
Yeah.
They came back for us
They brought
with
them back.
Marathon. I went in the shop. I see Marathons. I thought I went back in
Yeah.
time.
I
I
thought
got
back in time,
time.
innit?
I thought I'm going back in time. I see Marathon in the shop.
You have to
Like-
buy one, innit? If you see one
Yeah,
with
you-
Marathon, you're like, I've got to buy
Yeah,
it.
You've got-
definitely.
Just
you
for
gotta
the,
buy Marathon.
you got to buy it. I
It's
wish they were
like-
still 13p or whatever they were.
Yeah, mate. Like to see a marathon.
No,
in-
those
in-
days are gone.
Mate, those days
Definitely.
are long gone.
They're long gone.
You know, but to see them again in 2019, like
It was wicked.
marathon, it's just they had to be snapped
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You know.
I think what blew them up as well, they died off a bit after the Snickers change. I think that for me it put me off of getting them because I thought, I want a marathon. I don't buy
Yeah.
the Snickers, so I stopped
Yeah.
eating them for a little while. But I think what brought it back was early 2000s. They used Mr. T for the adverts.
Get
Oh,
some
yeah.
nuts.
Get some nuts, that
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
brought
yeah,
it back
yeah.
again. It was a good advertising campaign.
It's true. It's just, hold on, I might buy a Snickers now. Yeah, and I have to say Snickers. Though.
Yeah, advertising got you, Chris.
Got me, man. Get some nuts.
Love this. Yeah, they were good adverts. But onto another sweet
Yeah, that weren't the only name change that
yeah.
came back recently, was it?
of the chewy, fruity variety. Now, alongside a marathon, if you wanted a fruity option, you might get a Frutella.
Yeah.
You might get some Chew-Its.
These were made to make your mouth water, though.
But these are made to make your mouth water. You understand the water, lad? And
Made
Yeah.
to make your mouth water.
opal fruits made to make your mouth water. Opal fruits.
Mate.
Originals.
Opal fruit.
I missed opal fruits.
Why did
man.
they
And
even
they-
change the name?
Again,
To standardise it across the world. It's
Yeah.
across the world, apart from England, it's always been Starburst.
it's always been Starburst,
But-
and again, we just wanted to be called call them
Yeah.
opal fruits.
It's a
right?
weird name for a sweet, though, when you think about it. And when you actually look at a paint, you go, opal. What's opal? A colour or a stone or something?
Yeah.
An opal? And then
Yeah.
opal fruits. Like, it's a weird name for a...
Yeah, it
for-
is.
I don't know how
Yeah,
it
when you
got
think
that
about
name.
it, yeah.
It's an odd name,
But-
isn't it?
But that yellow packaging was big with the red writing.
They're different colours. They changed colours. They're different
flavors.
flavours. They changed the flavours, didn't they? That's what I missed. There was an old lime one in the original,
Yeah,
and they changed that, man. I missed the lime one.
you changed it to black
Yes.
currant, was it?
That one's nice though. No, they got both.
Starburst bought blackcurrant in. Opal fruits had strawberry, lemon, orange, and lime,
That's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they bought in blackcurrant and lemon and lime.
That's right. Yeah.
That was
Opal fruits. man.
98 was when that changed.
That changed to Starburst in '98,
Yeah,
and that was again. You walked into the shop. Oh, where's opal fruits?
Isn't it?
Starburst.
What's these? What's it Starburst? That's the same packet as opal
Yeah.
fruits. Like, what's that
Same
about?
red letter. What's going on here?
That's like a Jif and Sif moment. It's like,
Yeah,
hold on,
Yeah.
what's that about?
What is that about? For real. Like, what is that about?
What's that about? Oil of Olay and Ulay. What's that about? Like,
Yeah. Come on, man. It's
where's these little sly spelling changes? Where's that getting you like? What's that? What? Was it some trademark infringement or something?
True,
You get
you
up-
know.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Very
used to love
weird.
a pack of opal fruits. Remember, you used to go in the cinema and see like the big packs of sweets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Opal
Yeah.
fruits would always stand out
Yeah.
in the big packs.
Most
You
of the
know what I
shops
mean?
would only have the stick, sort of the
Yeah.
long stick version of it. Yeah, when you go to like cinemas and that, you'd have the big packs, man. But yeah, around. I think it was only 2019, like you say, when they bought them back as hopeful fruits, man. But it was only certain shops, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, them sort of Poundland, B&M's,
yeah.
them sort of
Yeah.
shops.
And they were around for a while, but they're around in 2020 as well.
Yeah.
So opal
You couldn't go
fruits
wrong for
were-
a pound.
Yeah,
You couldn't go
for
wrong.
a pound.
For a
It was
pound,
like,
you couldn't go
it's
wrong.
like, you can't go wrong. You see opal fruit, you forget every other sweet that's there. Like you could be looking for like bonbons or something. I see opal fruits. Go nah, it's opal fruits. Come on.
to make your mouth
You might
water.
not see
But
them
they
again.
do make your mouth water, though, innit?
They do, man. Just thinking about it now.
Mate.
Properly, they really did. They really like
did,
any
they did.
flavor.
Yeah.
Any flavor made you know. my favourite was the strawberry or the orange one. But yeah, they all made Jamaican.
Strawberry one was wicked.
What was
That
your
a
lot's favourite flavour?
Strawberry at the time, but now
strawberry and the lime. Strawberry and lime.
Yeah, the lime as well. Yeah,
I did like that one.
Yeah.
I think because it was like the last man standing for most people. So
it was the lemon,
I cleared
the lime
the
was.
lemon
Yeah.
and lime ones. I cleared that one. I know I like them ones, man.
Yeah. The red ones always go first. Don't
Yeah,
they
they always go first. That is a nice taste.
Red, green, orange in that order.
Oh, fruits. But have you combined it like two flavors, like orange and strawberry?
Combined 4.
Man's playing Lego with his sweets now. Man.
Just stack them up.
Building blocks with your opal fruits.
Their
man.
flavour.
But no, it was good to see them come back, recently, man. And they need to come back again and just hang around a bit more.
The childhood names that we recognise, man.
It was good to see them. I almost had a conversation with them in the shop. Good to see you again.
Guys,
you're looking bright and
You're looking.
How's
Have you
Orange
had your
doing?
packet done?
Yeah, man. So away from the sweets and the candies and onto technology. Now, growing up, when it was time for games consoles, as we said before in our game podcast, Atari was the first thing when we saw, Pac-Man, Pitfall, whatever was going on with the
Chicken Run,
all those games. And then on the sly next to it, do you guys remember, in America it's called Coleco, but over here it's called Inter-Television.
Yes. That I loved that.
Yeah. So you had baseball on there. You had so many games on that.
Yeah, like them shooting sort of battle.
Yeah. With that. Yeah. And then
grandstand version.
Well. And then for a while, like consoles per se, plug-in television games, like just disappeared. It just wasn't a big thing no more. Yeah. And that was for about 3 years. That happened. Like no games were coming out, no consoles, and so all you had was and that's when like the handheld games came in, the Tomitronics and the grandstand games, and all those, Firefox, Astro Wars. But on a smaller scale, we was already getting introduced to like holding a pad and pressing left and right, left moves, right punches, whatever.
ABC,
and that started, that started with the Nintendos, man, with Donkey Kong, man.
Game and Watch.
That was just like that was the move of moves. That just appeared. That game, the color, the double screen, and then Donkey Kong Jr. and the Popeye game.
They were wicked.
So many games are coming out.
Yeah, then Mario Brothers come out.
Yeah, all these different games come out from Nintendo, but no consoles yet. Everyone's just playing these games and stuff. And then in like, what year was that now? The Sega came out.
They both sort of launched together. 86, 87.
Yeah.
Master
so
System,
Sega come out in 96.
The first
86,
Nintendo.
sorry, the Master System. And then Nintendo. But when the Sega came, because I remember you had the Sega.
I remember getting the Sega before the Nintendo.
Yeah, and that was a massive thing. So if you remember that, it had Shinobi.
Closest to arcade at the time.
Everyone was playing Shinobi in the chip shops, but now you can play Shinobi at home.
In the luxury of home.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, you're holding that rectangular pad where you used to play Donkey Kong Jr. on and stuff. So
it's familiar.
Got that.
You got the muscle memory.
You're already ready for it. You're already trained for that.
I mean? Because Sega was because most games you played in the arcade, like the big games were Sega, Outrun, Afterburner, Alter Beasts, Hang On, Super Hang On. It's all Shinobi, Sega. and then you thought that was the only console that was doing its thing. And Nintendo was just for Game and Watch, playing little Donkey Kong. As Chris said, the next year came and Nintendo came out with the Nintendo Entertainment System.
NES.
The NES, man.
Original
Duck
big
Hunt
old box thing.
Yeah. And you get the gun and you had Mario Brothers, the first proper introduction to Mario Brothers. And then you had like even Mike Tyson's boxing on that.
Yeah.
Remember that game?
Punch
Well,
Out.
that's it. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And then like Nintendo just just grew and grew and grew.
Mm.
But it ain't something that just exploded, but they were going on for a long time, weren't they, Chris?
They're building, yeah. So Nintendo dates back to 1889 back in Japan. And it was 1889. And obviously you think, how can a computer company date back to that age? What were they computing?
Yeah. Did they know something we didn't, eh?
They know something we did, isn't it? Like, I know technology's early, it starts earlier there, but no, it was like some playing card game. They started off with manufacturing cards for a popular game for many years, like ages. They were manufacturing these cards. And it was during the 1960s they started venturing into other business lines. And that was when they first dropped. They used to have a longer name, Nintendo Karuta or something is the proper name, but they dropped the N bit and just made it Nintendo, and they got a license to trade public, as a proper company. So they started off with like an inter-television console, and they launched that in 1977. But I've never seen. I don't think that ventured.
Did it come out in the UK?
I don't think it ventured out of Japan. I think that stayed in Japan, from what I'm thinking.
It was big in Japan.
It was big in Japan.
All right, it's big in Japan. All right, it's big in Japan. Okay.
So like you say, they got into the console market in about 87. I think in Japan it might have been 85, but it launched here in 87. It was like a few months after Sega, or 6 months after Sega. And they were the first 8-bit generation computers, an upgrade from your Spectrum and your Commodore and whatever else we were playing a few years previous to that.
Yeah. Because they were tapes, and now we've now we went to consoles,
cartridge, or these special
cartridge,
games,
and
the only other computers that were about, they were pre-installed with stuff. These you could buy a game, and but the two big key events for Nintendo was 1979. It opened its New York office, and the New York office was charged just with making arcade games. And then in 1980 was when they first launched the Game and Watches, what you were talking about, like your Popeyes and all them, and they sold up until they got discontinued. I think it was like 2010 or something. They stopped making the Game and Watches, and up until then they'd sold nearly 50 million had been sold worldwide.
Wow.
And there was 59 different models made of them. I can only think about 3 or 4.
There were loads, but I was saying,
I don't realise how many there were.
There were loads, but I was saying between 83 and 85, there was the big video game crash. That's what it was called, and that's when Nintendo found that gap and said, okay,
that was off the back of making calculators. Their division, electronic division that made the calculators. Remember them calculators with the red, the red right? It was like them days. They were building these handheld games then. So that was must have been late 70s. So by the time the 80s came, they were ready with these handheld based on calculator software. I think. Which is amazing, man. Them games are wicked.
Wicked games, man. Big games. Yeah, man. So Nintendo, man. As I said, they were going through and through and through. But we, as kids, only noticed the handheld thing, and then the jump from that to the console. But all through this time, before we were born, they had things going on. Since they exploded with their console in 87, they've just like kept going and going and going, man. So that's why we put it in our 80s comebacks. But for us, it was just like, they ain't doing nothing apart from handheld. So they surprised us, man. So easy, Nintendo. We've all owned something from Nintendo.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Game Boy or a console,
definitely
a Mario doll.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could be a character doll or something. So many about.
No, I didn't. It was
Mario.
Did you have a Mario doll?
No. Well, I think they own Pikachu, don't they? I think they own.
Do they?
I think Nintendo's got something to do with that Pikachu lot, and look how massive that is. I'm sure that's something to do with Nintendo as well. As well as Zelda. Zelda's massive. Forgot about Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda's massive.
Yeah, Zelda's a massive game as well.
Nintendo run things, man.
Is that Robin Williams named his daughter after that game?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I never played it, but
I loved it,
Me
man.
either,
I played it. I remember
never played it.
Very popular game, though.
Yeah, very popular game.
Yeah, that was good. I remember something magic flute or something you had, and you had to play a flute and do some weird. It's like that flute that you like, the medieval.
Like the guy down the road.
Mate, I love medieval music, man. I love. Hey, come on, man! How can you not love medieval music? How can you not love medieval music, man? Yeah,
Especially
medieval, man.
Especially when you're waking up in the morning.
Mate, eat grapes and different exotic fruits, listen to the flute. Come on, man. Love that stuff. I love that. So yeah, let's move on now. I can go on about the flute all day, panpipes and all that.
The flute. That's wicked.
So yeah, that was Nintendo. Oh, one of our 80s comebacks. Now, people.
Let's talk about some people, yeah. Let's talk about some people.
Talk about some people, man. People that, we saw in the 80s,
disappeared for a bit.
Disappeared for a bit and came back, or, and this first one is a movie actor. And she was in the film, but she wasn't the main character of the movie. This, is a blockbuster movie directed by Steven Spielberg, which was, of course, E.T.
It's one of the most memorable characters, though.
One of the most memorable characters because of her cuteness. And when I saw this film, I always saw her as the little kid, but she was the same age as me. Just strange. I always saw her as a little girl, but she was the same bloody age as me. That's Elliot's little sister in E.T. We're talking about Drew Barrymore. Now,
was it Gertie? Her name was
Gertie. I didn't even know her name.
Yeah.
I didn't even know her name.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why Drew Barrymore is in our comebacks of the 80s, because, as I say, you had E.T., he went home, didn't come back. And you had Elliot, and you had his brother, you had the mother, and you had all, the BMX bike gang.
Yeah.
And, of course, what's her name again in the film?
Gertie,
played by Drew Barrymore, who's the same age as me, and I thought she was a little girl. She was the only actor out of that film to carry on with a career. And you would have thought that, the guy that played Elliot, what's your name?
No, you'd think his
Henry
film
something. Yeah, you'd have thought that he, would have branched out and made more films than that,
Even E.T., you would have thought he might have got a sequel or a trilogy or something.
There was a sequel in the works, but it was more.
There should have been some.
It was more on a horror tip where the aliens came back, the extraterrestrials came back, but it wasn't E.T. So Elliot thought it was whoever his name was, but the bad ones.
It was like Predators.
Oh
shit!
And then E.T., who we know, would come and save him and say, "No, they're my brethren, they're my mates, don't leave them humans alone." Yeah, and that was going to be made, but it didn't happen because it was going to go another turn. But yeah, Drew Barrymore, she's part of an acting family. Her grandfather was John Barrymore. He's a big stage actor.
Grandparents were huge. Grandparents date back to like silent movie days. Huge.
Yeah.
She's an actor in the silent movie days.
Yeah.
She's from a star-studded family, isn't she?
Yeah. So like E.T. came out in was it 83? Was it or something like that?
82.
82.
Yeah, she got a main break in 1980. So how old was she when she was in E.T.? Must have been, 6 or something? 6 or 7?
Same age we were.
Same age. She's born in 75, I think, isn't she?
Yeah, I was born in 75.
Yeah, I'm 74.
Yeah, so 7 years.
So not, yeah. So before that, she had her first screen break at 11 months. She appeared in a dog food commercial, and she got it during the audition, the dog bit her, and the way that she reacted to the dog biting her, they gave her the role. She was still nice with the dog. It wasn't like the story's quite, it's a nice story.
The dog bit her, so that's what she's got
bit her, but it's the way she reacted to the dog bite. She still petted the dog, and it's all right, whatever.
Oh, okay.
They thought, right, this girl was
there weren't blood everywhere. They go,
no, I think it was like a nip. It nipped her. But it didn't scare her. And they thought, man, she's got a real rapport with this dog. So at 11
what age? 11 months.
11 months. They're like, give the girl a job. So yeah, she got a dog food commercial that ran for a few years, I think. And then 80, she got her debut in a film called Altered States, which she only had a short role in, but it was 82 in E.T.
In E.T., that's when the world noticed her. Do you know what I mean? She dressed
up
E.T.
famous, world known.
Put a dress and hat on him and
I love that bit. Yeah, that bit was good. Yeah, bit lipstick and stuff. That was wicked. Straight off the back of doing that, she presented at the age of 7 a whole Saturday Night Live. Back in them days,
Oh, wow.
Johnny Carson doing it, but
Jeez.
he stepped down and she presented a show at 7 Saturday Night Live. That's wicked, isn't it, man?
You could see she was a star from when you saw her in 18. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
As you say, she wasn't in any of the action scenes or nothing, but she's still memorable.
Yeah,
in
screen
that film,
presence is good, definitely.
You
in
know,
that film.
And I'll say you would have thought that more of the actors from that film got more work and stuff in big films. Apart from obviously Harrison Ford, who we don't see his face, but he's the teacher in Elliot's school when they let all the frogs out.
Oh,
Is
is
he?
it?
He's the teacher, yeah.
Oh, that
Wow,
seems
I didn't know
like
that.
I sort of that makes so much sense, but I didn't really know that.
Yeah.
You don't see his face in it though. You only
You
see
don't
like
see
sort
his
of
face. You just hear the voice, and he's walking around. You see his feet and stuff.
like
But yeah,
Dr.
check that out
Jones.
again, and you'll hear his voice. Yeah, he's in Dr. Jones mode. Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Jones mode with some like tweed suit with like elbow patches and shit. I can imagine it now.
That's
Easy.
it. That's it.
I think as well because she's that child actress, and you're following her through her life, and you go through your teenage years, you go through the front cover of Playboy or whatever she done at one point. You know, that you have these moments in your life, innit, where you do scandalous, mad, crazy things, trying to find your way, trying to get your foot in life. So
Yeah, so you go to Playboy.
yeah, you Playboy magazine. There's a funny thing off that. She done that in '95 when she was aged 19, and her godfather Steven Spielberg sent her a quilt, like a quilted blanket, for her 20th birthday with a note that just said "cover yourself up" in it.
Oh wow! So what? So Spielberg is her godfather.
He's her godfather, yeah.
So is that how she got the ET gig then?
Exactly, yeah.
Possible.
Hold on. I'm thinking that happened after, but no, that must to be your godfather. That must have happened early on.
Yeah, it didn't say
it's got to be then.
You're good ET. I'm going to be your godfather. It was a godfather from when she was a baby.
From when she was a baby, isn't it? Yeah, it's got to be.
Oh,
It's got to be. Yeah, that's how she got the gig.
We should have said this you should have said that from the beginning of the whole talk. Now it's just all like, hey, it's all making sense now. It's making sense why she had a career after.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even include her in this list. It's all been set up for the trans she made for her. It's not a comeback.
I think
written.
In it.
Oh man!
But no, she did go on a downturn, even if she had the break of being.
So her comeback
E.T.
is from the drugs and stuff.
Her comeback's that. I
We
think.
salvaged.
Yeah, she did have a good comeback. She had a good comeback.
We just, oh damn, we're making a comeback now. We're trying to.
We're digging ourselves out of this. I got it.
I ain't seen her for a while though, but
No, I think she's got good few other little sidelines. I think maybe clothing and makeup brands on the go as well. So maybe that's why we don't see her on the screen too much anymore.
Okay.
I think she might
that's true.
present something as well now. Like recently, she's a presenter of something on US TV.
Chris said to Eamon Andrews.
I just remember I did see her when you said we don't see her. I did see her the other day. She's presenting something. I did see her
How much shit do you know about Drew Barrymore, man? Like,
damn, Chris went in, mate.
Drew Barrymore show.
If ever this is your life,
the next time with Andrews.
Chris needs to present this in your life.
Well, now we got 2 juicy ones. Come on, man. We got more stuff to go.
Man. Wow, that was Drew Barrymore, who Chris loved.
That sounds odd.
Our next being, Stacks.
Sorry, man. Carry on.
Our next being on our list of 80s comebacks. Now, this woman's incredible.
This is an incredible woman.
Yes,
Incredible woman, like
definitely.
You know, obviously we noticed her in the 80s, but her back catalogue's amazing, and she just, she exploded in the 80s for the whole world.
We know the comeback, really, innit?
We know the comeback. But
and then we had to learn the early stuff. We had to learn the early stuff.
But early stuff was great, and the 80s comeback was big, man. And this is like Tina Turner, man. Tina Turner, anime bullet.
Anime.
Amazing. She's like
Queen of rock and roll.
She's a queen of rock and roll. She's an artist that she's looked throughout my childhood. She's looked the same.
Yeah,
like,
she hasn't changed at all.
Same
Amazing.
woman, and her catalogue is amazing. From when she was, doing the tunes with Ike Turner and so on, and then but the 80s was the time where people really got to notice her. And she became an actress, and a career turn for the better. Not to say her tunes before with Ike weren't bad, but
some wicked
she reached
ones.
out to more people when she came out in the 80s, because the 80s was a time, like, especially the time she came out, like, a lot of American artists were like experimenting with like reggae sounds and that, You had Stevie Wonder, Master Blaster, and Lionel Richie All Night Long, and there was a sound, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it had changed because she had her sound. In the 80s, she changed her sound.
Yeah,
it changed from like the Motown and
that's what I'm saying. All those artists I just mentioned, they all had that Motown soul style. Lionel Richie coming from the Commodores and he went solo, and Stevie Wonder is just a genius. He always adapts to whatever decade he's making music in. But for us, we landed straight, as you said, Chris, on her comeback. So when we're first hearing "Let's Stay Together," her rendition. And then the tunes that she carried on making, that was the Tina Turner we knew. But her career, as I say, the career is illustrious, man. I'm sure Chris is going to tell us all about it.
She hasn't, from the early days, again, we know her from the 80s, but, I've seen some films from her past. She's had some dark past, some bad stuff going to her, but man,
her music has always been good.
Her music's always good, man, but she just has never stopped working, that woman, man. She's retired now. She's done her last, I don't know when it was, 2010 or 2017 or something. I think her last farewell 50th anniversary gig, farewell thing. But she just never stopped. Well, up until that point, she'd never stopped touring, never stopped working, churning out music. She's just amazing. And like you say, she's never changed. She just looks the same.
Always look the same.
The energy, the look.
Yeah. That's
amazing woman, man. Amazing. It was Private Dancer 1984 was the album that come out that I remember. It's what's love got to do with it's the main, the most successful tune on it, wasn't it? It was a massive
and that's what I'm saying with the little reggae, doom doom doom, that little guitar, that little bass guitar, all that sound was going on for those artists. But
wicked tune, man. Amazing as well. That was first written for Cliff Richard. Can you imagine?
What's love got to do with it?
Yeah. Can you imagine? What the? He rejected it. He's like, no, it's not my thing.
It's
not for me. He didn't want it. And then they got offered to Donna Summer. Didn't want it either. Then Bucks Fizz actually wrote a version of it. Bucks Fizz wrote a version of it, but by this time, Tina had got her version out, and they were like, Bucks Fizz got canned.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's mad though how that song sort of got,
Who was that written by? Do you know?
I'm not sure. No, I should have looked into that. I didn't know. It's just it seems like one song got out for
recorded
tender.
A version and then
a version that totally got canned. It was it was all ready to go, recorded version, and then Tina got hers out first, and that was it.
Wow. But Cliff Richard,
Cliff Richard, isn't it? Imagine that. But that tune and the title track, Private Dancer, that was another. I remember it's like you see that was often on Top of the Pops back in the 80s. That video.
I love that. I love the lyric when it says any old music will do. That sounds so English. Like I always used to think as a kid, how is Americans saying any old music will do? When I hear that, I think of any old music will do.
I know what you mean.
I'm just a private dancer. Any old music will do. Like I used to hear that lyric as a kid and go, yeah, that's so UK.
Any old iron.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of. But no. So as we're saying, she had a long career with Ike. That went sour in like 76.
Yeah.
And her comeback was in 83. So, bang into the 80s, just hitting the ground running. And she was like what Beyonce is now. It's that same generational thing. I see the same, the same kind of ilk as what Beyonce is now. Yeah. And that respected artist globally. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. She can switch up. Yeah. She can still be the soul girl. She can still do the pop, amazing vocals. You know, doesn't rely on too many things around her.
Yeah.
Her personality and voice is big enough to fill the stage.
Stage presence, a concert just with her on the stage strutting about.
Yeah,
Not Simply the Best, or you know,
all those
that was
hits.
like an icon tune of the 80s as well. What with Thingy using it, Eubank using it as his entry as well.
Yeah.
It was a massive tune, man.
Exactly, it's like timeless titles. Once you've got a title like, you know, Simply the Best, or like We Are the Champions, or like, you know, you've got something that
timeless.
that's timeless.
That's going to go around for ages, like a Christmas tune.
That's making you money.
For
days.
I remember again, we spoke about how like we used to like watching pop music videos because you got a glimpse of maybe of a film that's coming out.
Yeah.
I remember Top of the Pops one day, this thing coming out. I was like, hold on, that's not Mel Gibson. What's this Mel Gibson? What? Hey, and she's doing like a, you know, We Don't Need Another Hero.
Thunderdome.
Like it's like wow, like acted in this, like, it's like that.
It's
big
true.
shoulder pads, the big hair. It's like wow, it's like this woman's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's just like the chainmail kind of like look at it. Yeah. Thunderdome.
That's what I was trying to think. Beyond Mad Max 3, wasn't it?
Hey.
Mad Max 3.
Mad Max 3. That's right.
Beyond the Thunderdome. That was good.
Even the movie that Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne.
That was good as well. That was the name of her song, wasn't it? We What's Love Got to Do with
What's Love Got to Do with It? Yeah,
that was a wicked. Them two parts, amazing. I hated Lawrence Fishburne after watching that film, but
when he came back as Morpheus, he's like,
they played that wicked.
Really well. Really talented Tina Turner.
Yeah, definitely, man. Proud Mary, you can't not like Proud Mary as well. What a song!
You can't like any of her songs. It's just like she's a character. Amazing voice. Big up Tina Turner. All right, let's move on to our last of this episode of 80s comebacks. Yeah, our last is this guy. This guy was a boxer. Heavyweight boxing was big in the 80s. I think we said this before. You know, we had so many exciting boxers in the 80s coming out from the UK, the US. Boxing was free to watch.
It was free to watch. Exactly, on normal telly. It was a highlight.
Exciting fights, highlights. But you know, as I was saying, we always had Americans to look at, but we had a British heavyweight that now we could cheer on and be proud of.
It was fighting the best of them at the times, wasn't he? He was up there with the best.
This guy was, you know, he was fighting exactly. You know, you saw all the fights. You know, you was behind him all the way. You know, win or lose, this man eventually became heavyweight champion. He came back. People doubted him. People doubted his style. People doubted what he was about. But in the 90s, he came back and won the heavyweight championship. And that is Mr. Frank Bruno.
Franklin Roy Bruno. Sir. MBE.
Yeah.
Is he? He's from Hammersmith, isn't he? I think he's from Hammersmith.
Yeah, he's born in Hammersmith Hospital.
Yeah, West Londoner.
So Frank Bruno, man, a long career. We all followed him. You know what I mean? Because back in those days, it was Frank Bruno, it was Barry McGuigan, it was Nigel Benn.
Barry McGuigan.
You know what I mean?
Hey, Barry McGuigan was a bad boy boxer.
Yeah, man. Yeah. When it was heavyweight division, though, it was Frank who was looking out for.
Yeah.
And he fought anyone that came in the way, he would fight.
Yeah, we were short on heavyweight, so yeah, he was definitely a good one to come around. But I think his professional career started about 82 to 96, so it was, you know, that whole perfect time.
Yeah, we watched the whole career. Yeah,
wicked. Yeah. It was wicked.
Frank Bruno, man. Frank Bruno. So like people doubted him because we were looking overseas, and like at that time Mike Tyson was the man. Mike Tyson was devastating.
He was the animal.
He just took care of people. But
all the heavyweights were from the US,
but Frank Bruno was a friendly giant, and he was the type of boxer that, much as I love him, he used to frustrate me because you would see him have a man on the ropes. You go, just finish him now.
Finish him.
But you've got him on the ropes, and he would like step back, take a breath.
Yeah, he would, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And he was like, "What are you doing, Frank?" I used to hear that his punch was like a horse kicking you.
Yeah, he had
and I used to think to myself, "Oh, that's all you need to. If you've got the man on the rope, give him the horse punch, then, mate.
Give the horse him on the cheek, man."
You know what I mean? But as I say, Frank Bruno, he had 45 fights, only lost 5.
Yeah, 45 fights, 140.
140. That's a good record, man.
By knockout. That's a wicked record, man.
Good record, man. I remember him fighting a guy called Joe Bugner.
He was the other British heavyweight, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he
Joe
was
Biden.
South African. Was he half British, half South
I
African?
thought he fought for
something?
Britain though. I think.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
remember the name, definitely.
Yeah,
Was
Joe
that after or before Bone Crusher?
87. That was, he fought Witherspoon after Bone Crusher.
Witherspoon, yeah.
He lost that. He ran out of steam and got knocked out in the 11th. Again, winning on points right up to round 11, man. It's like, how gutted is that?
Because he should have finished him when he had him on the run earlier. Mate, just ducking and diving, you know?
See, 87 was the next fight. That was against Joe Bugner. And as far as I know, it was the first all British heavyweight. It weren't for a title though, so it was just a heavyweight fight, all British. And Bugner was past his peak, and he was back from like I think the Henry Cooper days almost, innit?
Yeah.
Fighting in them days.
Back. But Bruno was like
knocked him in the 8th round, knocked him out.
Bruno was like the British guy, the guy everyone was rooting for, man. He had his HP adverts.
Franklin, not HP.
Franklin, not HP. Like Frank Bruno was
he was a national treasure, isn't it?
He was a national. That's the word I'm looking for. National. And then he had his chance. He had his chance to fight Mike Tyson. When he fought Mike Tyson, whose side were you lot on?
It was Bruno just because he's the English, innit? But I knew
he wasn't gonna win. Like,
but it was
Mike
just
Tyson,
like, Bruno, please show him that you can do it. I can remember, I think the Sun or someone at the time. I remember being in high school at that time. I was in high school because we had lockers, and I remember the Sun run a page with one fist of Bruno and one fist of Tyson, so you could compare. You could cut them out. Literally, I did cut them out, compared them, and I had them stuck inside my school locker. I remember that was a fight you were just looking forward to at the build.
Tyson is just a different breed of boxer. Like, completely different.
I was scared for Bruno.
You knew Tyson was going to win.
Yeah.
But you would like to have seen Bruno last longer than Tyson's other opponents. And he did.
Yeah, he did. He done well.
He didn't get knocked out.
Right.
Normally Tyson
he shook him as well.
Out.
He shook Tyson as well.
Shook him with like a big left or something, man. And I think even Tyson said that's one of the hardest punches.
It was a good fight.
I think what happened in the first, if I remember, didn't Tyson hit him and his legs slipped out the ring and they count, like he went down, but it's because he backstepped out the ring by mistake. And I think they counted that as a knockdown in the first round, I think.
I can't remember that.
From what I remember. I remember him slipping down.
I was just so happy for years later on, in 1995, when he did, win and was announced heavyweight champion of the world, man. The guy hung in there. He fought so many people to get there. Everyone, as you said, Chris, everyone that was around.
Everyone was about.
That was possible to
before
fight.
That fight, Lennox Lewis, another fight with Tyson.
That's right.
No, he hadn't fought the Tyson fight. He won with McCall. In the contract, it was if you win, you have to fight Tyson.
And that's like a double-edged sword because you know
you're gonna lose it.
Your first defense of being world champion, you're gonna lose it. But at least he got to be. At least he heard those words.
Exactly.
At least he got to hold it. Yeah.
At least Frankie boy got to be heavyweight champion. I was so happy for Frank.
British heavyweight. Yeah.
That wraps up our 80s comeback, man.
What more? Bruno. Let's come back with some more.
Let's come back with some more.
We're gonna come back, yeah.
We're gonna come back with some more comebacks, man. Guys, thanks for listening, guys. Have you got any suggestions of comebacks you can think of, in your childhood that you remember that you didn't see, then they came back? It could be anything. Food, movies, fashion, hairstyles. Tell us. So again, guys, take care of yourselves, and until we meet again.
Till next time.
Peace. I'm not gonna say bye, Stokes.
Yeah. Peace.
Those were the days. Let's take a moment now to harken back to past days. The Jerichos and large braids, all the parts and waves. I'm parting ways with all our money in the arcades. Trying to reach the final boss and beat the last stage. Playing Street Fighter 2 and button bashing till my fingers were numb and smashed in. But life is now in 4K and I'm a little jaded. It was clear when it was 16 bits and pixelated. Doing the shuffle and the running man. Oh, happy days and big ups to Richie Cunningham. Taking it back to black plimsolls. Moving through the city scene in our chippy jeans with the pin rolls. And it was break beats before the finger snaps. Blockbuster late fees, I would never bring them back. Reminiscing over yesteryear. It's like I'm scrolling through the teletext and next I'm gonna shed a tear.
Those were the days.
Days I remember. Playing in the streets for ages. Those were the days. Calling your friends on their house phones. Those were the days. Summer holidays for 6 weeks. Those were the days. Those were the days. Those were the days. Being friendly with your neighbors. Those were the days. Watching cartoons at 6 a.m. Those were the days. And the technology was basic. Those were the days. Those were the days. Those were the days. I had a crush on Lauryn Hill when she was with the Fugees. Went to see her in concert, wearing my new jeans, smelling of brute. And tonight, I'll be the victor. I've got my Kodak camera so we can take a picture. Blind date, still a black, please work your magic. Don't panic, I'm on the case like Inspector Gadget. Lauren appeared like weird science, breeze, be cool. In my mind, I did the running man to don't be cruel. I pushed white left to the side so I can meet and greet her. We took our picture together, there was nothing sweeter. I tried to act emotionless like I had Vulcan in me, but we were meant to be together like Mork and Mindy. I said goodbye to a radiant soul. That night, wrote in my diary like Adrian Moe. When I developed this film, I'd have to frame it to be frank. But when my pictures came back, they were blankety blank. Those were the days I remember. Playing in the streets for ages. Those were the days. Calling your friends on their house phones. Those were the days. Summer holidays for 6 weeks. Those were the days. Those were the days. Those were the days. Being friendly with your neighbors. Those were the days. Watching cartoons at 6 a.m. Those were the days. And the technology was basic. Those were the days. Those were the days. Those were the days. Shout outs to Breeze. We had to show our age on this tune. I'm talking about Sega and Nintendo cartridges. Before you could even play the game, you had to blow out the cartridge like